Howdy, fellow movie watchers, and welcome back for another edition of the Wisco Movie Watchers Podcast, brought to you by PTE Creative. As always, we are your hosts, Evan Davies, Dylan Davies. Dylan, what are we up to today?
Doing another 100 episode. We got 60 through 51.
60 through 51 today. So we're finishing the first half of this series of movies. So it's going to be very, very interesting. This is episode 5 in the series. If you would like to get all the dialogue and the discussion for our past entries, please go do that. Go check out the rest of these episodes, available where you can on YouTube and Spotify. But if you'd like to see the graphics, here they are now. But that is all we have from our past, but we're focusing on 60 through 51 today. I think we're going to continue our order as always, where Dylan will let you start it off. Take us to your 60.
All right. My 60 is The Producers. Mel Brooks is The Producers.
Very nice. Ironically enough, one of the Mel Brooks movies I never got into.
It's one of the ones that I like. Obviously, we never watched it when we were kids.
Yeah.
It's just one we never saw when we were doing our Mel Brooks run.
It's important to note in this. Our father is quite possibly one of the biggest Mel Brooks fans of all time. So that was passed on to us very quickly. And our mom also does love Mel Brooks as well. So we got a early education quickly into the filmography of Mel Brooks.
Yeah. Once again, like, there's only so many ways you can just say it's funny. It's just a funny movie, but first off, it won Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars, which is saying something because it's a movie that contains a musical number that is literally titled Springtime for Hitler. Which is the greatest part of the movie, in my opinion. I love it so much. It's Gene Wilder and Zero Mostel. Gene Wilder, obviously, great collaborator with Mel Brooks. Yes. I love Gene Wilder so much.
Gene Wilder is another one of those actors that just has a magnetism to him where he's so endearing. Yeah. You immediately like Gene Wilder.
Yeah. And if anyone hasn't seen it, it's just about two people who are intentionally trying to make the worst play possible to get the tax write-off money.
It's such a fucking Mel Brooks idea, too.
Yeah, they're embezzling all this money from older women that they've gotten to produce the play. So they're just trying to tank it, and they hire this Nazi veteran to write it, so that's why it's Springtime for Hitler is one of the numbers in it. And then instead of everyone hating it, everyone thinks it's a comedy and ends up loving it. So yeah, it's just a great movie.
The premise is just so goddamn good.
Yeah.
We're trying to rip a bunch of people off for a tax write-off. So stupid. And that's what we love about Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks is so goddamn good.
And it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's his first movie.
I believe it is. Yeah, The Producers is, I think, his first directorial debut. A lot of fun there in The Producers. I think one of the problems I had with the filmography for Mel Brooks is I wanted to like it so much, but I'd end up just trying to force myself to watch it at the wrong times. I think The Producers was one of those. Where I was like, it's a Mel Brooks movie. I should love this. But I wasn't, in the space to do it. So I was like, okay. I think that the same thing happened with High Anxiety and a few other movies I tried where I was just like,
sure.
Okay. But then there's, the holy floor for me that I absolutely adore. That I can't I can't say a negative word about them unless you force me to. But The Producers I know The Producers is very good. So good first pick on your part. We're gonna stay with some musical comedy to a degree here. We're going to 1975. We are going to truly the king of the cult film. That is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Uh, we did a full episode on this if you want to see our full thoughts on the episode, but it's the cult movie king, and for damn good reason. Endearing characters, great music, and spooky vibes with the queerest energy you could ask for, especially for the time. Damn it, Janet, I love you. It's just, I love Rocky Horror. This was an early edition in life where looking at my wife's movie catalog of what she owned, I did not have a lot of faith that a recommendation from her would be good. But I tried Rocky Horror and I went, okay, I will believe your opinion and I will try, because I watched Rocky Horror for the first time and went, this is fucking incredible, and I love every single second of it. And I was very pleasantly surprised, because I know my recommendations for you either usually come back meh or okay. And the fact that you liked Rocky Horror after the recommendation for the episode was fun.
It was. Yeah, I've only seen it the one time for the podcast, and obviously I had known about it forever.
Yeah,
like as the cult classic movie.
Yes,
like that's what it's known for. Yeah, so it was a pleasant surprise that it actually like held up as still a good movie.
Yes,
like not just like some strange oddity. It's a pleasant surprise.
I think what's funny is it gets better with age, because you look at it more as this like time capsule, but it's not a time capsule. It's just a very endearing, weird story thrown together with a lot of catchy music. It's got a surprisingly good cast as well. You know, Tim Curry, Susan Sarandon, Barry Bostwick, Meatloaf makes an appearance. You know, it's like it's surprisingly damn good cast as well. But talk about a queer movie. This is a queer movie, and I love it for it. And the Rocky Horror Picture Show is a movie you want to share with others. I think that's what I love about it the most, is you want to share with this with others. And if you're not in the crowd that knows it, I think it's very easy to go, that's not for me. Because you know the classic stories of like the midnight showings at the local theater, and you know the cosplay that happens, and you think, oh, that's not for me. The second you watch it, you immediately go, no, I'd really want to try that. Most people would want to try that and go to it. I'm very, now that we're at least within driving distance, I just for the first time, as of recording a couple days ago, got the chance to go to the historic Oriental Theater in Milwaukee. It's a great local theater on the east side of town. And they always have the Rocky Horror Picture Show classic, like everyone sings along, gets into it vibe, and I really want to go at least once. Because A, it's a beautiful theater, it's a great place to be. Milwaukee's an awesome town, but then you get the fun of the Rocky Horror Picture Show with it. So, what a fun! It's just fun. I think that's the way to say it. It's just fun.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Love Rocky Horror Picture Show. And if you want more direct takes on it, go watch the full Cult Classics episode that we have in the archive. So, check that out. Take us to your 59, Dylan.
My 59 is fittingly 1959, Some Like It Hot.
Ah, okay.
They got one of the best writers of all time, Billy Wilder. He also directed the movie. It's just like some of the smartest, wittiest writing you'll get in a movie, which that's what Billy Wilder's known for.
Sure.
Is like, especially his comedies, like, they're so witty. I really have a fondness for that style of comedy where like almost every single line is a joke of some way, but it's not necessarily a joke with a setup and structure or anything. It's just like a witticism of some kind.
Yeah. There's a little
Yeah, like
Seinfeldian nature to it where you just say something and
yeah,
that's what sticks with you. Yeah.
yeah, or it's like just a play on like the scenario or something like
Sure.
that. Like it will set up because at the very beginning they set up that a girl band, a, a girl of big band musicians are looking for two musicians, and then Jack Lemmon and God, I'm blanking the other actor in it. Let me look it up real quick, or else it'll drive me crazy. Oh, Tony Curtis. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. They're two musicians who are on the run because they're playing illegally in a speakeasy, and then they think
uh,
they're yeah. Um, but then because they're two musicians, they think that they're the right people for the thing, and then like, it's all about them applying for the positions, but it's for two women. So they go cross dressing as the musicians. That's how they get into it. And
naturally.
then Marilyn Monroe's in the band, which uh, like Marilyn Monroe is whatever for me,
Yeah.
like as an actress, but she's undeniably like magnetic.
Yeah.
No matter like you can see a still picture of her, and she goes like, "Yeah, I get it." Like
She is.
she has that something about her.
She's kind of like Burt Reynolds in a way. She's just an icon of the time. But like,
Yeah,
there's not much really about Marilyn Monroe herself and her work that you go, oh God, Marilyn Monroe, obviously. But
yeah,
it's the icon status and the way she lived life. I mean, fuck, there's a piercing named after her, of the Monroe because people want to have that classic little dot because she was just so iconic. Um,
yeah.
that
And she is magnetic in the movie, and she's like so likable
yeah,
in the movie. And it's like there's it's Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis acting as two women, the band, and then they're also like Tony Curtis is also trying to woo Marilyn Monroe as himself, but playing as like a playboy like millionaire. So it's just a great like scenario movie where it's
the
ridiculous, but
absurdity
it's
is
so
there.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, just really witty, really fun, really smart. It's it's like one of the like most quotable comedy classic comedy movies. Like you'll see it in any like classic comedy montage. So yeah, great movie.
interesting vibes.
The one you'll see the most is definitely the last line of the movie,
Sure.
which is Jack Lemmon and the old man on the boat where he rips off his wig as he's a man. Guy says, "Well, nobody's perfect." Like it's just great.
I'll take you to an endearing movie, but not out of the same ilk. We're going to 1993. We're going to The Sandlot. I don't know if it made your list or not, but
It didn't. I mean, I love that movie, but
yeah,
no, it's not on my list.
I adore The Sandlot. The quartet of 90s sports movies for kids continues here. I already had Mighty Ducks as an entry. This time with one of perhaps only three things about baseball that I actually like. We all think we're Benny the Jet Rodriguez, but really we're usually Smalls or maybe Ham. That's that's the endearing part about the movie. Just a really fun, endearing look at a time period. And although it so revolves around baseball, it's really about friendship, which I really appreciate, and trying to help your friends in these ridiculous scenarios. And I love that the kids all have their own quirks, and they're kids. They're not just like movie kids. I really appreciate that. You got the effortlessly cool and good at everything guy who also is just kind, so you want to root for him. I also love beginning and end reveal that their love of baseball has kept them together forever in ways in which like Smalls is the commentator for the Dodgers, and Benny is now a player on the Dodgers. It's just very fun to get to see that. Also, great heartfelt performances for Karen Allen and Dennis Leary in here that stand up pretty well, and James Earl Jones is also really fun in that movie. I just love that the whole point of the movie is them being afraid of a dog.
Yeah.
But they've built it up as like the beast. He's a killer and he's just a big dog. It's all it is.
And not even a mean dog.
Not even a mean dog. But to them, they've just only heard the stories, and the amount of absurdity in that happens in that treehouse is so much fun. But I love The Sandlot so much. Such an endearing movie. And the chase sequence, talk about well played. I love the airing of the Wolfman during the chase sequence. And then the beast crashes through the screen trying to chase Benny through the streets, trying to get him. I'm like, love it. Just so much fun in that movie.
Yeah, there's a lot where they're like the drowning scene where he like winks at his friends before he kisses her. Yeah.
I mean, it's so that movie is iconic to a point in our generation that I went to a Halloween party a couple years ago in Philly, and the host, her costume was Wendy Peppercorn. And
nice.
And it was just like nice. Yeah, and that's the thing is like, hey, you got it, flaunt it, girl. But beyond that, it was just immediately everybody was like, red swimsuit, the white. Oh shit, it's Wendy Peppercorn. Fuck, or Peppercorn, whatever. Like, yeah, hell yeah, Sandlot, girl. We love that shit. So, and very, very kind person as well. But,
what's that kid's name? Is it Squints?
Yeah, it's Squints.
Okay, that's what I thought. So my 58 is Big. Tom Hanks. Big.
Never seen it all the way through.
Did you not like it, or did you just not finish it?
It's pieces. I think there was one time I was starting to watch it, and then like circumstances were like, "Hey, we gotta go." I think it was like on TV, and I was like, "Oh, Big." I know. Obviously, you know the piano scene, you know the Zoltar, you know a couple things about it, but I've never seen Big all the way through. So,
like the little blurb I wrote about it is like it's super unique in the fact that it could be super broad in terms of the idea behind it.
Yeah.
But it still manages to have a lot of nuance. Because like every other movie that does this same exact idea of like aging a kid up into an adult is the most broad comedy of all time.
It's very it's very ham-fisted a lot of the time. And very
like, but Big manages to have so much like heart and like a lot of like more serious moments actually show off Tom Hanks like real acting chops.
Oh.
And this is actually it's an Oscar nomination for this movie, which is great. But there's one scene in particular where I think he's supposed to be 12, maybe very beginning, before he turns into like the adult version of himself. And then him and his friend have to go into the city, New York City, and they go into this shitty ass hotel that he has to stay in.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has to stay there alone, and he's like super scared at night, and he locks the door and stuff, and he hears gunshots and stuff outside, and he just sits there and cries. Like that's like a lot of nuance for a movie like that.
Oh yeah,
like you don't see stuff like that in like a really broad comedy that would be remaking that today.
No, they wouldn't toy with that in a comedy. They would toy with that if they were trying to be faithful to it.
And then there's also another great scene where Tom Hanks' best friend, like his kid best friend in it, talking to Tom Hanks' mom in it because they're next door neighbors.
Yeah.
And it's just like a great scene where they're just connecting like, about the missing child. Like that's another scene that wouldn't be in most comics, but like
There is something where there's a flip somewhere in 80s, 90s comedies where they felt they had to just keep going the joke route, and they didn't ever give the movie a moment to breathe and have a serious tone to it and allow you to be in the feelings, which then sets up more jokes. They like there's something about it where they're like we don't have any moments of true despair, because even in the despair moments of a comedy when someone's down on their luck, they still somehow make it a joke.
yeah. Yeah, and the best friend is played by that ginger kid from E2 for him.
What movie?
Judgment Day, Terminator 2.
Ginger
He
Kid.
saw his picture.
I think I would probably recognize. I'd probably recognize because usually Ginger Kid. I'm like that doesn't. There's not a lot of ginger kids in movies. We haven't had that much representation here, my friend. So
he's got a mullet and everything.
Naturally,
you recognize him. Yeah, he's great in the movie. Yeah, that's what I'd say mostly about is like a concept that could be just super broad, but they manage to have a lot of stuff that makes it more unique.
Gotcha. No, that's very fun. Obviously, it's super endearing to the point where everybody knows it without knowing it. I'll take you to something wildly different. 1985, we go back. We continue the obsession with spooky season. It's Return of the Living Dead. I don't know if you've seen this one, but proper protection of intellectual property be damned. Phenomenal B-movie for zombie fans with a spectacular, cheese-tastic 80s spin for good measure. Great flick. This movie's fucked. Have you seen this movie?
I have not, no.
It's fucked in the best ways possible. So, nice but kind of dumb 80s guy, like older teenager, maybe just barely young 20s, gets a job at this like medical warehouse, but in the bowels of the medical warehouse is like these like just barrels of chemicals that they accidentally release, which then start turning them into zombies. And then those chemicals then being released, they're naturally right near a cemetery, so all those people start all the dead bodies start rising, and then they have to play with that. Just a lot of unique and fun characters in this, and it's fun because you get to see how people that are of an alternative lifestyle, so to speak, because there's not like anyone who's like openly queer or anything like that, but there's like stereotypical punks in the movie, like the big ass like mohawks. Yes, and it's fun because you're seeing a lot of characters where they're portraying their character of like what they think their parents see of punks in it. It's not like, oh, this is what punks are. It's kind of like, this is what our parents think punks are kind of vibes to it. But fun and interesting cast. Random shots of nudity for no reason because it's the 80s, so why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not, essentially. But
what year is it?
85. It's just a fun, It's just a fun, random-ass zombie movie that ironically has kind of become a cult movie that people like. When I first saw it, it was just tracking down random movies.
Cult following.
It has a huge cult following, but the first time I watched it, I didn't know that. I just went, oh, Return of the Living Dead, and I mistaked it for Day of the Dead in the franchise. Said, I was like, I love Night of the Living Dead. Obviously, Dawn of the Dead's great. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, wait, is it Return of the Living Dead or is it Day of the Dead? I couldn't remember. So I just watched it on a whim before seeing Day of the Dead. And I went, oh, fuck. This movie's awesome. I fucking love this movie. It's total B-movie schlock, but I love it. So that is my 58.
All right. My 57 is Casino Royale.
Now we're in my wheelhouse.
The first Bond, I guess you would say reboot. I guess. I don't know, a soft reboot,
It's a soft
maybe?
I think soft reboot is fair. I don't know if it's a
Yeah.
true hard reboot necessarily because it is. I'm just slow because I'm looking at my list just to make sure I didn't have a blind spot on it. So it's a soft reboot because it's not as if they haven't replaced Bond before and put him in different age
Yeah.
periods. Because Pierce kind of has that vibe too when Pierce Brosnan is
Yeah.
cast. Because Timothy Dalton they kind of just threw in after Roger Moore, and they're like, he's
Yeah.
obviously younger. Let's just roll with it. And I think that's what the vibe they were going for with Pierce, where there was a very concerted. It was clearly a concerted effort of we're gonna modernize this franchise with
Yeah.
Casino Royale.
In terms of tone, though, it's definitely a departure
Very much so
from
from, especially from the
the
last
other
Bond.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah. And then Daniel Craig is my favorite Bond,
I think
really.
so. Casino Royale is higher on my list, so we'll be talking about
Okay.
Casino Royale again. However, I think this is a good place for this conversation. I have the. I don't think this opinion is controversial. I think this is classic. Like people don't want to. I really hate conversations that immediately just say the first is the best. I really hate those conversations because I don't think that's fair, especially when some of the most cherished franchises in movies, the sequel is better. I.e., Empire, Dark Knight, things of that nature, you know? So I'm like, that's not inherently true. I understand Sean Connery, everyone believes is the definitive Bond because he starts it. Daniel Craig is the best Bond. There's so much it, and I
Yeah.
understand he's given way more material to work with. It's not as if Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan, Timothy Dalton, fucking George Lazenby, or Roger Moore ever got that much real depth to the character. Pierce got some, but not a ton. But obviously, Daniel Craig got to play a far more in depth look at the man, not just the secret agent. But Daniel Craig, there's just an animalistic, raw nature to his portrayal of Bond that
Yeah.
makes him the best Bond ever. Casino Royale is so goddamn good. Uh,
Yeah.
it's it's so strange how Bond, the first outing of a Bond actor, is usually fucking incredible, and then it's kind of law of diminishing
True.
returns for them,
Yeah.
where Daniel Craig might have the argument outside of. I'm looking like Sean Connery. I think most people would say From Russia with Love is the best one.
Daniel Craig, the one thing going against him is everyone says Quantum of Solace sucks, but that's not his fault. And I wouldn't blame any of the filmmakers because that happens directly during the writer's strike. Like, it's just a shame.
It's in production during the writer's strike. That's the worst part. Is
Like,
they've already
they
started it.
they literally did not have writers on set
Yeah.
during the movie. So it's a shame in terms of when the movie.
I also think Quantum of Solace is a classic example
They should
of
have just delayed it, honest.
they should have and they didn't. And the thing is, they learned from it though because Skyfall came out 4 years later and they were trying to move with that franchise. Had they just put Quantum of Solace 1 year later and done like, hey, we have so many bones. I think Quantum of Solace, the bones of a good story are there. I
Yeah,
just don't think
that's true.
I don't think it gets wrapped up well. And then you have
Characters are weak. Yeah,
yeah, and then you have these slight nods back to old Bond that just don't work. Where you have Gemma Arterton as Fields, and then you learn in the credits her name is Strawberry Fields, and you're like, oh god, guys, we don't need to go back to the fucking '60s here with that one. But she's in the movie for what, 6 minutes?
10 minutes.
Not
Yeah.
even, and it's I'm not going to be pushed around by you. Okay, so we're gonna have sex, and now I'm gonna be
Yeah.
killed in motor oil. It's like what?
Yep. Yeah, it's a shame.
There's bones of a good story, and I think I like Olga Kurylenko in that movie as well. I do actually appreciate her in that movie, but it's not great. But yeah, Casino Royale is an odd exception. There's many people of your liking who believe Casino Royale is superior to Skyfall. I'm not one of them. I think Skyfall is
Yeah,
better.
I like Casino Royale more.
But I understand why people would say that. But Daniel Craig kind of breaks the pattern of the first one is the best one by far. It's like, yeah, Connery's the only one who might be able to say the first one isn't the best one. Because clearly, Live and Let Die is the best of the Roger Moores.
Yeah.
Clearly, Living Daylights is the best for Timothy Dalton, even though he has
Yeah.
two. GoldenEye is by far the best of Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
So, but Casino Royale is fucking great. Love Casino Royale. 57. We talked about this in the last episode, and we have a full podcast episode dedicated to it, so we don't have to redo a ton of it, but we're going to 1973 and The Exorcist. Another recent addition to the top 100, all thanks to Dylan's legitimately great idea for the big box office series. It's really what started this podcast, so deserve a lot of credit for that one. The amount of tension and fear created in broad daylight throughout this film is beyond commendable. Genius through and through. The Exorcist inspires me because it can show you that any idea can work. I think that's what I love about it the most. It's like, hey, yeah, daytime can be scary. And you're like, no. And you're like, no, yeah, it can work.
Yeah. And the best thing about it is it's not a story about demonic possession.
No.
Like, that's what all horror demonic possession movies are nowadays. They're just 100% focused on that. Whereas this is like a family drama really at the center of it.
We've said this about so many different films, and we need to say it. We just need to say this as a definitive statement because it's accurate. Not that good movies can't happen without this. Any genre movie, if you want it to be successful, it's not a horror movie. It's not a action movie. It's not a thriller. Whatever the case may be. It's a human story set in a genre. It's what it really is.
Yeah. The majority of successful ones.
The core of it is not, oh, we're out to make people laugh. The core of it is a really... That's why people love romantic comedies. It's really about the relationship of two people. Sure, it's funny, but the reason people there is because they want to believe in love. That's why they watch it. It's why Netflix has a whole cottage industry of shitty holiday fucking Lindsay Lohan movies. Because we want to believe in love. We want Lindsay to be happy. It's literally what it is. And The Exorcist is a perfect example of that. You're dead on. It's not a movie about possession. It's a movie between a mother and a daughter in their relationship and trying to help. It just so happens the daughter gets possessed by a demon who fared decently well in our Royal Rumble back in the day. If that's a good episode for the crossover episode of our show is the ONETA Show and the Wisco Movie Watch podcast. It's from January. You can see the horror Royal Rumble where Dylan had to orchestrate who wins the over-the-top battle royal between 30 horror characters with me. So Pazuzu got knocked out because he possessed the wrong guy.
Yep.
But fun times nonetheless. Exorcist is great.
56 is my second Mel Brooks of this top, or of this 10. Young Frankenstein.
So I can tell you, we'll be talking about this much later.
Okay, yep. I'll just say two things about it then. First off, love that it's in black and white.
Yes.
Love that. I don't think it would be nearly as good if it was color. And then Marty Feldman and Madeline are the two MVP of the movie.
I think Marty Feldman certainly has a distinction for that.
I only say it because I have a huge crush on Madeline Kahn.
So the thing is, I think beyond just the two women of the movie that people would be like, oh,
Oh, Terry Garr is also
I
amazing.
have a huge crush on Terry Garr from that movie.
And R.I.P. Terry Garr. She just passed.
Yes. Well, yeah, it was. She passed away right around Halloween time too, so it's just like I'm watching Young Frankenstein in your honor. And then I also watched Close Encounters right after that, or right around that time too. A true MVP of that movie is actually Cloris Leachman. She's so good.
Yes, yeah, she's also great. I mean,
And
there's like, every single character is great.
they're
But
so endearing. It's so endearing. What's funny is, to me, this is a Young Frankenstein doesn't meander as much as a lot of Mel Brooks movies do. Where like Blazing Saddles starts as a very concentrated story and just constantly widens and widens and widens out to have like all these rando characters that you didn't see coming. As does Spaceballs, as does History of the World, which granted that's by design for History of the World, but kind of what the point is. Like a lot of his movies just slowly meander away from the central plot just to have some absurdity to it. Young Frankenstein is incredibly concentrated on those like six key people. And it's always comes down to Gene Wilder, Marty Feldman, Terry Garr, Horace Leachman, Madeline Kahn, and Peter Boyle at all times.
Yep.
And and then Kenneth Mars does such a good job as the inspector. I love Kenneth Mars. But that's a movie that you can watch with a child, and anything that you might find inappropriate will go straight over their heads, and they will just find it hilarious. I mean, I first watched this movie when I was 6, and I think you watched it with us, so 4.
yeah,
Like we watched
yeah,
Young Frankenstein early. Like we said in the last episode, or in this episode already, our dad fucking loves Mel Brooks, and our mom also has a soft spot for Mel Brooks as well. So, yeah, we'll talk more about this much more down the road. But
yeah.
Young
Yep.
Frankenstein is a very important film truly in our family. So, love Young Frankenstein, glorious film. Alrighty, 56th for me. We'll stay in spooky season, but we will go very different. 1994's Interview with the Vampire.
All right.
I know you know I love this movie dearly, but my blurb, picture it. I've turned the loft of my old garage into a teen hangout, which Dylan can attest to, complete with camp furniture, a cot, and an older TV with great giant rabbit ears and legitimate physical dials on it. It's Halloween night, and I turn the dial on the TV to find a period piece vampire movie starring Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt playing way outside of type for both of them. And it's another one of those gems I found on my own in my teenage years. But it holds a very special place in my heart.
I think I saw this movie before you, if I'm not mistaken. Because there was a time when I started reading the books too.
Yes, you did.
Anne Rice book.
I think you watched it right around the same time, because I became obsessed with it for a while, and you were like, oh yeah, I'm reading the books. And I was like, damn, okay. I adore this movie. Again, it's one of those movies I found on my own. No one told me about it. I found it completely at random by flipping through a physical dial on a television set in the loft of our garage. We had a detached garage that had a loft for extra storage, which was then turned into a hangout space after our first outdoor hangout space got destroyed.
Yes.
In many ways, we were very fortunate kids. We were not, I would say we were pretty lower middle class family. Not like destitute. We weren't poor, but we definitely were not upper middle class or rich kids.
Yep.
But we had a few things that made us have a somewhat idyllic childhood in some ways, and that lofted garage was one of them, because it just became a hangout for all of us to fuck around in and watch terrestrial television. But I will never forget that night. It's forever ingrained in my head. Interview with the Vampire is very special to be in that. But I just love the period piece of it. It's a very romantic film, and
Multiple period piece, yeah.
yeah, and the imagery is so gothic, but so just picturesque, beautiful. And I love the lighting of that movie. They always keep it sort of dark, A lot of candlelit scenes, a lot of things of that nature
Yeah.
to keep the tone and perfectly encapsulate the vampire aesthetic and the undertones that one of the reasons, psychologically speaking, I can talk to this more in another movie, that vampires are always intriguing is they're always the outside of the norm of sexuality and gender. They always have that slight, like, why is a
Yeah.
vampire in everyone's head slightly metrosexual and like pansexual? Why is a vampire always that? Why is there never like a man straight vampire or a very dainty stereotypical female vampire? They always play in this very quasi odd middle ground, and they fit that perfectly. And also, nice shout out to Antonio Banderas, who has a small role in the film. Also, a lot of fun. And
Yep.
Tom Cruise's Lestat is legit electric. When he's on screen as Lestat,
Weird choice, I will say. Like, I'm glad they went with him.
yeah.
But like,
Well, I'm glad he did it.
Like,
because
yeah,
that was not what he was doing at the time.
That's a departure for sure. Yeah.
Well, what I loved about it is what started as a classic Hollywood horror story turned into someone's true love affair. Where Anne Rice, they licensed her books, and they said, we've cast Tom Cruise as Lestat, and she was livid. She's like, how fucking dare you? Like, because Lestat is her favorite character. He's the one that moves the plot along so many times in the other books. And she's like, how fucking dare you cast Top Gun over here as my character? And she went to set and saw him perform as Lestat, and then ever since writing the rest of those books afterwards, she's like, I saw Tom Cruise as Lestat. I understood what he was doing.
Yeah, Brad Pitt's a pretty natural choice, but Tom Cruise is not.
No, because at the time, Brad Pitt isn't what we know of Brad Pitt now.
Well, yeah, but before that, he had done Thelma and Louise, which is his breakthrough, and then the same year he does
Legends of the Fall.
Legends of the Fall, which is another period piece. So, like,
this isn't Fight Club, Ocean's 11, Brad Pitt. This isn't Inglourious Basterds, Brad Pitt.
This is not movie star Brad Pitt.
This is not Deadpool 2 cameo Brad Pitt. This is still period piece getting there Brad Pitt. But growing up with the now Brad Pitt and then seeing him in this like period piece drama with the long ass hair, you know, very put together vampire, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it's indelibly ingrained in my head, and I adore Interview with the Vampire.
Also, really underrated score.
Yes.
That's one thing. And another thing, Kirsten Dunst is great in that fucking movie.
Kirsten Dunst is phenomenal. Kirsten Dunst is phenomenal in that movie. It might be her greatest performance of all time. And I'm not trying to be shitty.
Probably is.
I think
Honestly,
it
probably
I
is.
think it is, because everything else I've seen her in, it's kind of diminishing returns from there. And I'm not saying she's not good. She's good in other things, but she's incredible in that movie.
Yeah, I would say like it's up there for sure.
Well, I just love the visceral anger she has in that movie when she gets the weight somehow of what it would be like to have the mind of an adult in the body of a child, and she somehow encapsulates it well enough, and she's still a kid and can do that in real life. I'm like, that's really impressive. She's great in that movie. And also, all the set decoration, the production design.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
utterly adore it.
It is beautiful. All right, so my 55 is Inglourious Bastard.
Not on my list, as I said, by many people's standards, a very controversial opinion. There's not a single Tarantino film in my top 100.
Yeah, that's my first note. It's my favorite Tarantino film, so therefore, that's a hint for the future. This is the only Tarantino. This is the highest Tarantino film that's on the list. Don't be looking for Pulp Fiction. Sorry.
I don't know if
Um,
it's just because the time frame of it or not, but Inglourious Bastards is kind of the flip of the switch for me culturally, where Tarantino goes from this like people like Tarantino to where everyone talks about Tarantino, and I could be wrong. It's just because we're coming of age at that time, but it feels
um,
kind of like the switch is flipped where these become more marketable
that's the
event
thing.
movies.
They become event movies because they start not just like kind of everything before that wasn't really like a like kind of like a bankable idea, really.
Sure.
Like Jackie Brown, nothing about that movie's like, oh, I gotta see that. Like,
I mean,
whereas like,
Pulp Fiction kind of isn't even that. Reservoir Dogs isn't that. You know, Kill
but you
Bill,
could see it.
even to a degree, kind of isn't that. Based on the time frame of when
But
it was released.
yeah, but you could at least see, the ideas behind those movies being more successful.
Sure.
But like, yeah, definitely this is where you start to see like, for one, a bigger budget for sure
Yes.
for Tarantino. You know, yeah, it's like helping Nazis. What's not to like? It's like it's just a bunch of Jews going around killing Nazis. It's awesome.
Yeah, we're in the
And it's
killing Nazi business. It's great.
yeah.
I love it. I love Inglourious Bastards. It's good. I think there'd be a lot of
Shooting Hitler.
Tarantino if we extended this to my top 200. There'd be a lot of appearances in Tarantino movies.
Yeah,
But
yeah, shooting Hitler point blank in the face. Like fantastic. Like I said with oh, it was during our Oscar episode actually
yeah,
when we were talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like I love his historical like revisionism where
yeah,
it's just like, you know what, in my history the shitty people are going to be the ones that get tortured.
yeah.
Like fuck them.
Oh, I adore the scene. I just saw the clip of it on Instagram. Just going through reels, like fucking around, and I love the clip of where Christoph Waltz is negotiating for the life of his like second in command or whatever that's with him when he turns
Yeah.
himself in, and he just shoots him. He's like, I just negotiated. He's like, well, doesn't matter. I've been yelled at before, and they can yell at me again. I've been chewed out before. I could take that. And he's just like, I can't kill you. I'm sure as hell not going to leave you with that. But him constantly confirming with BJ Novak of all people, who I don't
Yeah.
see in that role, but he's perfect for
Yeah,
that
there's quite a
role.
few. Yeah, there's quite a few people that are like fun casting
Michael Myers
in there.
or Mike Myers in that movie.
Yep.
I was really hoping that would continue a trend for Mike Myers, where he was in the middle of Love Guru and shit like that, but then he had Inglorious Bastards. I was like, okay, just keep doing fun stuff, and he just
Yeah.
doesn't act anymore.
Yeah. And then like the two standout scenes in that are obviously like the opening scene is amazing,
Yeah.
and then the basement scene with Diane Kruger and Michael Fassbender is also like those are like two all-time great scenes.
Oh yeah, they're good. They're damn good. That it's like you said. They're scalping Nazis and they shoot Hitler in the face. What's not to like? You know.
Yeah.
It's not springtime for Hitler. Let me tell you that. It's bullet to
Yeah.
the head time for Hitler. Alrighty, 55. Wildly different tone here. Wildly different movie. We're going to 2004, and that would be Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy.
A movie that you was on my list but just narrowly missed it. Yep.
At one time, I would have considered this my favorite movie, or if not my favorite movie, damn close. But regardless of the fall of that, in terms of the rankings, goddamn, this movie is still good. Number of quotable lines, quirky characters, and absurd moments make this a favorite. When in doubt, many times, I just say the only rule is no touching of the hair or face. Because even the understated lines like that are fucking brilliantly comedic. and I love it. What was it? You brought up Baxter in a previous episode, and it just made me giddy. Like punting clearly what is a stuffed animal off a bridge. There's your dog. Or it's the understated scenes that people don't think about, because I know in the commercial that was like, stop what you're doing immediately and listen. Cannonball, like obviously that's super popular. The fight scene is so damn good. Yeah. And the way you can out of context use that got out of hand. That got out of hand fast. Like those scenes work so well, but I just love the even more absurd ones, like when he's down on his luck, it's like, it's so damn hot. He's just chugging milk. Milk was a bad choice, but he keeps chugging milk. Or when he's fighting a bear and Baxter comes to save him at the end of the day, it's so fucking good.
And the cast is absolutely stacked with
that is comedic,
not just
just greatness.
Not just actual roles, but cameos too.
Yeah,
amazing.
And that's the thing, is that's by far the best part about Anchorman 2, because Anchorman 2 is fine, but the fight scene
never made it.
I do too. The fight scene at the end of Anchorman 2 is awesome, because they just go into who wants to play. Just come play. It's fine. Like Will Smith being representing ESPN, and all the History Channel is represented and shit like that. But I do love the random cameos, like Tim Robbins as a rival news. That is awesome, because when you see Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, you're like, makes sense. They're the comedy guys at the time. But then Tim Robbins comes out, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck is happening? And also, it'll forever be ingrained, Ben Stiller's intro as the Spanish language news host coming. He's like, "Como está, bitches?" And it's the amount of times I've said that in my life without thinking where that comes from, why I do it. I just do it. Tremendous. God, that's awesome.
Pretty much that whole movie's quotable, so yeah.
But
it's a great movie.
What a great quintet of stars to carry that movie. And just Will Ferrell obviously is incredible. Paul Rudd, David Koechner, Steve Carell, and then the person who never gets enough credit because she's so goddamn talented comedically, Christina Applegate's so good in that movie. When she was diagnosed with MS and she made it very clear she wasn't going to be working anymore, I was heartbroken, because anytime I've ever seen her pop up, it's gold, and I fucking love her when she gets to do stuff. So, oh god, she's so fucking good in
that. Yeah, Paul Rudd is he doesn't have to do anything, and I find him funny.
Oh yeah,
it's really weird. He can do anything, and it's funny to me.
60% of the time it works. Every time. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I still put on the Afternoon Delight scene every now and then.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to it.
Also, great way to use a song, man. God damn.
Yep.
Good stuff. God, Anchorman's so good. I love Anchorman. Anchorman's incredible. Okay, go to 54.
54 is 7.
Alrighty. Very different tones that we're going for here.
Oh, yeah. 100% different. My first note, Kevin Spacey as a serial killer has aged extremely well.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen the movie, I think most people know this movie. Know the twist.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
That's the only downfall of it, is it's become such a big thing that one of the best twists in movie history is unfortunately given away. But
yeah,
once again, it's a serial killer movie and a thriller, so like I have a sweet spot for those.
Great duo, great buddy cop movie too. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's phenomenal.
Morgan Freeman is narrating it as well, so can't go wrong there.
If you kill him, he will win, and it just has such gravitas to it. It's
Yeah.
tremendous. And a young Brad Pitt. Like he's not young, but in comparison to what we
Well,
know,
I
Brad
mean,
Pitt, he's young.
that's that's what we talked about. That's a year after Interview.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, he's racking up
Well,
good. He's racking up good movies in the '90s. I feel like
he's up and coming.
I feel like Brad Pitt is kind of like the Ryan Gosling of the '90s. You either like him or you don't, but he's in a bunch of good shit, and whether you like the movie or not, you're not sure. And then eventually he has a role that's like pretty big and commercial, and you're like, oh shit, Brad Pitt's pretty damn good.
I think Brad Pitt probably has a lot more quality though
Yeah.
than most people.
Yes.
Because like when you actually go back and look at like the quality of a lot of his films in the '90s, almost every single one is a good movie.
Yeah. Oh god, Seven's so good. And Gwyneth Paltrow's even tolerable in that, and that's not a sentence I say often.
Yeah, I actually really love that scene between her and Morgan Freeman in the diner.
Yeah.
Where she tells him that she's pregnant. And it's just like a really quiet scene between those two. It's like great acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie.
And
That's
most people know it's Seven. So
it's one of those movies that it's especially because we are currently living it right now. And I've lived it a lot because of working with youth. Seven is one of those movies that somehow can be forgotten, but in a certain population it never gets forgotten. But it's like no one ever really talks about it much, oddly. And then you'll find the right segment of people are like, what are you talking about? Seven's one of the best. But then most of the time, most people talk about it. But especially now that we are living this right now with two younger people that are looking into more movies and trying to really explore a movie catalog, it's one of those movies you always recommend. You're always like, you gotta go watch Seven. I need you to go watch Seven.
yeah. Yeah, and there's some really brutal shit in that movie.
Oh, yeah. But Seven's damn good. I'll take you to my 54 here. Staying in the 90s, going to 1992. Another movie that critically hasn't probably aged well, but I don't really give a damn. Bram Stoker's Dracula. You know how much I love this movie. But generally speaking, it's a pretty faithful adaptation of the book. And frankly, one of, if not the only reason I have a college degree is because of this movie. I adore the Dracula story. I could talk for hours on the theoretical work surrounding the source material. However, the film is something that has always struck a chord for me. The gothic setting and imagery is forever rolling around up here. Could use a little work with the accent with Keanu Reeves, but
100%, yes.
I think honestly, Keanu Reeves is the only sticks out like a sore thumb, because Winona Ryder doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. To me.
Her accent's a little rough, but
It's not the best, but I think it's passable to the point where I can get past it.
it's passable for sure, yeah. I don't really love the movie, but I love the look of the movie.
I think that's fair. Dracula is a vibes movie for me. I love the vibes.
In terms of like all the technical stuff in it, it looks amazing.
Absolutely.
And there is so much like practical in camera awesome just like visual tricks going on that are really worth looking into, like that you would think are like visual effects shots that are actually just 100% practical.
Yeah.
That are really cool. Like there's that one scene with like it's like a giant book and then like a train in the background. That scene.
Yeah.
Like that's 100% practical. It's just like there's really cool where it's like harkening back to earlier filmmaking things, where it's just like finding a creative solution to things because they didn't have computers back then,
Yeah.
and that's the type of shit that I really love.
Yeah, the visuals also, it cannot be understated. The costume design in this film
Yeah.
is impeccable. It's incredible. The costume design. You're right. The look of this movie is what sells it to people to watch it. And whether they like it or not is up to their interpretation of the film. I think Gary Oldman is perfect for Dracula, especially at the time when he's a little bit younger. But he has enough gravitas to him where he could play this character that's been around for hundreds of years. And a great Van Helsing and Anthony Hopkins. That's a great interpretation of the character from the book. But it's pretty faithful, actually, to the book. And like I said, the reason I have a college degree is Dracula. The amount of times I had to do theoretical work, and they thankfully said, hey, you get to choose what your material is. I want Dracula. And I just refined the same thing over and over and over again. And half the time I just watched the movie and then correlated it to the book and went, yep. Sorry, Dana. Sorry, Tara. Sorry, everybody else in that department. But I love you dearly. You still mean the world to me. But yeah, it's the visual representation and the underlying psychology is all there from the book. And that's what I really, really appreciate. I think what's odd is sometimes it becomes a little blockbustery. I think it would have been more suited not for that. But there's these odd scenes that kind of make it a little bit more blockbuster-like. And I don't understand some of that.
Well,
but
it's kind of like every Francis Ford Coppola movie after Apocalypse Now, where it's like too bloated for its own good.
Yes.
So
it's bloated and there's some stuff you don't need, certainly. But I really appreciate the look of that film. Also, such a great shot of production design. I love how Dracula's castle looks like a throne with a dead king on top of it. That's a beautiful shot. They show it like twice, but it's awesome, and I fucking love it.
Yeah.
It's a vibes movie. If you're for the vibe's awesome. If you're not with that vibe, it's probably not going to do much for you, but I love it. Love it dearly. Take us to 53.
53 is something I'm sure is higher on your list. It is the Batman.
Yes, and we'll leave it at that, where it is. Yes.
Yeah, I'll just say there's obvious reasons why I like it, and it's because it's heavily influenced by Zodiac.
I'm really wondering where Zodiac's going to end up on this list.
That's pretty high, yeah, that's pretty high.
Because Zodiac's great.
Also, I have to also say, just for the record, I was a early adopter of Robert Pattinson, good actor.
You were before a lot of people were. I'll give you that. What was the role that did it?
Cedric Diggory.
Oh yeah, there's an asterisk by that because it's Harry Potter related, but fine. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But even in like Water for Elephants, which I don't know when that came out, 2010 maybe.
Yeah.
He's still good in it. Like, I think he's always been a good actor.
I'm excited because, what is it, Mickey 17? It comes out right after release of this show. Because we're recording this early, but I'm excited for that movie with him getting to play like multiple different versions of himself in this really odd space setting. That looks really fun. He's a damn good actor. He's certainly someone I turned around on. Where I can't remember what it was.
He got a bad rep
because of Twilight.
A bad rep because of Twilight, but by the end of that franchise, he just didn't give a fucking shit about it.
No, why would he?
You could tell by the third movie, he just did not care.
To be fair, I don't think he cared ever. I think that was one of those that he took Twilight
think in
because it
the
was a good career move.
I think in the first one he did actually try because, but I also would argue the first one is actually like a decent movie because it's just like pretty much an indie movie,
Okay.
and then all the other ones are just like loaded pieces of shit.
I wear proudly that I abandoned my friends and went and hung out by myself for 2 hours while they watched Twilight. I wear that
I
proudly to
will
this day.
I would I would defend the first one, but all the other ones are shit.
I have legitimately, outside of trailers, seen 30 seconds of Twilight, and I'm going to keep it that way forever.
And the writing in it is good, but
Yeah, but yeah, Robert Pattinson. There was definitely a turn for me. I can't remember what it was. It was like mid-teen years, like 14, 15, 16. He did something that I really appreciated, and I think he's great in Tenet. I think he's underrated in that movie. I was really happy to see him get a lot of different things, and obviously, he's incredible in the Batman. To get back to the Batman, the only commentary I'll give, and I'll elaborate further when we get to this on my list, it's the truest representation of the character ever on screen. That simple. It's incredible. The cast is great. The music will always be underappreciated because it can't. The Batman comes out 1 year earlier or 1 year later, it dominates awards. But just so happens it comes out the same year as Everything Everywhere All at Once and Top Gun Maverick. So it wasn't going to get anything.
yeah.
But incredible
Yeah,
movie.
I think it might have been a little too gritty,
Yeah, but
genre-y, but
gives a fuck. It's amazing, and that's all that fucking matters.
I'm just saying from an Oscars point of view, that's why.
Well, we've already shown that the Oscars are flawed, so. Alright.
That's for sure.
Alright. My 53, we talked about it on a previous episode recently. We also recently, I guess it was a month or two ago, technically for the viewer, but we're recording these in big sessions. And we have an episode fully dedicated to it, so again, we don't have to go full into detail. It would be 1982's number one hit, E.T. Continue the most recent additions to the list. Although I had already seen E.T. and thoroughly enjoyed it, our most recent viewing of it for the podcast had me giddy with enjoyment for the film. It is damn near impossible to make a film that has as much heart as E.T. does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, higher on my list, so I won't talk about it much. I'll just say,
what an incredible movie.
In an era when Spielberg could not miss.
Oh. Think about the back-to-back here, man. You get Raiders, and then you get E.T.
Yeah.
Child, please. It's so fucking good. Why do I feel like we just talked about it for the top 100? Did I accidentally put it down twice? Now I gotta double check out of curiosity. No, we didn't. Why did we talk about this recently? I don't know why we did that. But we did. I remember an ET conversation specifically on the show, but whatever.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Case may be. Either way, it's fucking incredible. We'll talk about it later on with Dylan's, and we have a full episode. So if you really want our thoughts on the movie, go check out that episode. It's one of, if not the, it's one of the first big box office episodes we ever did. Incredible movie. Incredible movie. I love it. Continue.
My 52 is Pretty Woman.
Okay. Movie that I just watched for the first time within the last year.
Okay. Yeah, as I said in, is it last episode where we talked about Hook?
Yeah, we talked about Hook on the last top 100.
I have a huge crush on early 90s Julia Roberts. So
she's endearing. She's endearing, man.
This is 1990. It is like charming as hell in that. It is like crazy the amount of charm she has.
She's just got that thing about her where you just want to root for her. You just want her to have good things.
And like everyone talks about her smile is like once you get the joke is always like once you get her either show the smile or that big laugh that she does all the time in her movies, then you can just wrap for the day. You can just stop shooting for the day. It's fine. You got it. It's in the can now.
Well, that's the thing
But,
is, I was just about to bring up the laugh. There's something about her laugh that's so endearing, so special, but it's authentic to where it doesn't sound like a movie. It doesn't sound. It's not an embarrassing laugh, but it's not a laugh you would pick to be like, I want this to be a nice laugh. You wouldn't pick her laugh to do it.
well, yeah, the one in Pretty Woman is an authentic laugh.
Yeah.
Like, she's not faking that laugh at all.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact because it's improvised part of the movie.
Yeah.
In that scene when like clamps her hand on the jewelry.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're gonna talk about any romantic comedy, pretty much you're just boiling it down to the two leads have chemistry,
Uh-huh.
and luckily those two just have amazing chemistry.
An insane amount of chemistry. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why they do multiple films together. So yeah,
I mean, it works, and she is the it girl of the '90s for a reason.
yeah,
Beyond belief.
and she gets an Oscar nomination for it.
She deserves it.
Pretty impressive.
She's incredible in the movie. It's one of those movies. It was part of my wife's zeitgeist growing up. She watched Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman was one of her watched too early movies, where a kid won't get everything. Because Pretty Woman doesn't have anything so offensive in it that you're like, how could you let a kid watch that?
Yeah, not really.
Anything that's kind of innuendo or her commentary they don't understand will just go over their heads. So it took her years to her late teens because she saw this so young. When she pulls the condoms out of her boot, they got that circle with the wrapper. She thought she was pulling out suckers. So that was like always a thing in her family. Like, oh, she pulled out the suckers, and I'm like, yep, that's what it is. It's exactly what it is, sweetheart. Because she loves Julia Roberts movies from that time. Because another favorite of hers is Erin Brockovich. She's like fucking loves those. Ab loves those movies. So, but yeah, her thing is always, she talks about it all the time. She's like, I thought they were suckers. It took me till my late teen years to go, oh shit, those are condoms. I'm like, yep, babe. Yep, they were.
Yeah. Another honorable mention that didn't make my list, but almost did, was Mystic Pizza.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think a year before this.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. Just another movie where she's just fucking charming.
It's what she does. And then she just kind of disappears off the face of the earth for a while as an actress.
Yeah, well, she can do that. She's Julia Roberts. She
yeah.
Money to
I mean, to be fair, she
do
is
whatever the fuck she wants.
She is of the status of when she chooses to work, people pay attention.
Well, I mean, you can literally do like doesn't have to work a day in her life.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't want.
Oh yeah. But it's just interesting that that's how it goes. Very different vibe for me here. A film that I think is fairly ridiculed by some, but it's from 1984. It's Children of the Corn. It's spooky season. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies from spooky season, and wonder if I like Halloween or not in this bracket right now of 10. But one of the movies I was always drawn to our mother's fear of it. Logical if you grow up on a farm, I think, to be afraid of this movie. But
yeah, probably.
For me, this movie is about vibes. It's spooky season anytime I watch it, and I'm fucking here for it. The vibes of this movie is what sells it for me. Is the acting great? No.
Definitely not.
Is the production great? No. Is this mid-tier at best Stephen King adaptation? Yes. But do I love this movie beyond belief? You're goddamn right I do. I absolutely adore Children of the Corn.
I'm gonna look up the budget real quick.
And I do know our mother is deathly afraid of this film.
$3 million budget. So
it makes sense.
Pretty low, yeah.
And one of the most prominent ginger actors of all time, Courtney Gaines, is in this movie.
Yes, I was gonna say you got the Burbs ginger.
I will say Linda Hamilton is pretty fun in this movie, and there's some relatable moments. I the reason this is built up into my head as to why this is Mom is so deathly afraid of this movie, which I understand. Growing up going to Grandpa's house, and there's a fucking cornfield literally 50 yards away. Not even. I understand why she would be like completely freaked out by that, thinking that there's these like pagan satanic children like killing people. I get it. But that was always built in my head, like, oh, Children of Corn, it's always one of those revered movies. And then I did more research after. I was like, why is this revered? It's not like that good. I love it, but it's not that good. And I was like, oh, it's not. It's just Mom's fucked by it.
Yes. I was gonna say it's not revered at all.
Yeah. But again, it also helps. It gives me ties back to Mom, which does warm my heart a little bit. But I love the vibe. I think it's very relatable. I remember one time as a kid, we went to apple picking, and we went into a corn maze. And it was like the one time I kind of didn't like pay attention, and I found like there was one split second of being like, where the fuck do I go? And I understand the fear in that second. Or I remember going, like, as a teenager, going to a friend's house, and they had a big cornfield behind them, and we'd all fuck around in the cornfields, and being like, there is something creepy about this, where you're just surrounded by not being able to see, and I understand why that works. And then if you bring in crazy religious fanatics, that just works for me in a movie. So, I love Children of the Corn.
Yeah, I mean, fun disposable 80s horror movie.
It's a fun watch during Halloween to be like, it's 95 minutes. It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, it's nothing special, but yeah,
with
it's
some
enjoyable.
of the worst special effects of the time visually that I've ever seen. But
oh yeah, it is bad.
It'd be bad. Let me tell you, it'd be bad. But fun story, enjoyable, love it.
I think the story is there that they just didn't have the budget because I think I want to say they had to pay the majority of their budget went to use game for the marketing.
Sorry, what was that?
They they paid the majority of their budget went to using Stephen King's name for the marketing of the movie. So they didn't have any budget left for like the visual effects at the end. I want to say I remember hearing a story about that. So
that's fucking wild. Yeah, I love Children of the Corn. It's just you're right. Disposable is a good movie for it. It's a fun disposable watch. There's something cozy about Children of the Corn to me. I don't know why, but it's a cozy little film for me. So I like Children of the Corn.
Okay. I-51. We are finally going to talk about it. 1999's The Mummy. It is.
Have you been waiting nearly a year to talk about this movie?
I mean, what can I say? It's one of the best adventure movies of all time.
I don't know if it has that distinction, but
it's the fourth best Indiana Jones movie.
Interesting way to say that.
That's pretty much what the movie is.
Yeah.
It's pretty much an Indiana Jones movie
without Harrison Ford. Yeah. But it turns into kind of like a pseudo horror movie too. So
yeah, there's like it's like a horror movie for queens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I always loved it, because it's like dark enough for kids, but still like fun and enjoyable. I mean, I know like people my age, like I just saw an interview with Brendan Fraser where talking to, I can't remember what outlet it was, but the guy pulled out his original ticket from The Mummy 2 and he showed Brendan Fraser, and he was so happy to see that the guy still had them. But like,
there's something about it that works for some people, man. It just does. I get it.
And like, I know all the cast, like they still love the movie that they were part of it. Like, Rachel Weisz is really proud of it. Brendan Fraser was really proud of it. Shame that the third one is complete garbage, but second one's not bad, but as one of the worst visual effects of all time.
Oh, let me tell you, I
Scorpion
know.
King. Yeah,
The Rock's looking mighty fine in that movie.
yeah. But for 99, like, obviously, it's like a breakthrough year for visual effects because you have Phantom Menace and The Matrix.
Yeah.
But The Mummy should be right up there in that conversation as well.
Okay.
Their visual effects, they hold up.
They do.
Like,
When I've seen clips of the Mummy in recent years, I will say they hold up pretty damn well. It's the Beatles, it's the scarabs walking around that's always does it for me. Where I'm like, yeah, makes sense.
and then like it's not just that. Like, there's a lot of like early like big establishing shots of like ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
Those are like almost all some sort of visual effect where it's like mixing miniatures and visual effects together.
Good CGI stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a great episode of Corridor Crew where one of the people on the Corridor Crew channel, his dad worked on The Mummy.
Ah, okay.
I think he was the art director. He brings in like a bunch of original like sketches he made, and he was
That's cool.
responsible. Yeah, he was responsible for like they made tons of like different drawings for how the stages of Emotep would look
Yeah.
throughout the movies, and then Steven Summers picked his drawings as the one they would go with. So he has like the original drawings that he has for those.
That's
Like,
cool.
really awesome stuff. But he talks about like the original establishing shot of they had it all 100% done, and at the very end, Steven Summers just said, "You know what? I'd like to make that shot actually at dusk." But they just had to go 100% back and just redo it all, but they had to do it like digitally because they couldn't film everything.
Yeah.
But like that's all 100% digital effects there. But like it's like stuff you wouldn't notice as being visual effects. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's like, when you start to like research more, that's when I went, okay, actually these do hold up a lot more. Because obviously there's stuff in the movie that's not going to hold up from 99.
No.
Like, there's stuff from every movie from 99 that's not going to hold up. But
Yes, the 90s in general don't necessarily hold up
yeah,
well. Which
yeah,
is ironic because in doing this, the 90s are tied for most films in my top 100. But a lot of it's like the quirkier,
yeah,
random little shit. It's not. There's not. Like, the 80s have the big blockbusters for me that I love. The 90s don't have a ton of blockbusters that are like, yeah. That, I have a lot of like, The Sandlot, Interview with the Vampire, things of that nature. That are of that ilk. But yeah, The Mummy is a damn good action adventure film.
yeah.
And
And Rachel Weisz and Brendan Fraser, amazing chemistry.
yep,
Like,
Rachel Weisz looks
great.
damn good in that movie.
Yeah, does. And then John Hannah as the brother, he's great. Like, just comedic relief.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes they can get a little annoying with like the side comedic relief. I
Yeah,
think
there are
he's
times that he annoys me, but he's good at what he's doing, so I can't.
yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I just can't sing the praises of that movie. Oh, I love it
You
so much.
you utterly love The Mummy. The Mummy is one of your movies. It's one of yours. I'm shocked it's this low. I'm shocked it's not in the top half.
Well, that just shows how much I love the other 50.
Because The Mummy quite possibly is outside of Talk to Me, I think is the movie you've brought up on the podcast the most.
Oh, I would probably say I would actually probably say The Mummy's probably the thing
I think it
talk about
is, but I
most.
just can't remember because you bring up Talk to Me quite a bit. So
And if I'm not mistaken, Talk to Me might be, yeah, it's pretty soon. So we'll be talking about it pretty soon.
Alrighty. My 51, wildly different case. We stay in the 80s for me. 1989's Roadhouse. Yet another, the endless crusade of Evan tracks down 80s films. This movie starts in the most 80s cool way ever, then turns into an absurd take on martial arts and revenge that had to be written by someone that loved Disco Dusk or White Girl Interrupter. But damn it, Swayze is great in this movie. If someone said, pick one movie to represent what the 80s is, I'd pick Roadhouse. Because it's fucking wild, dude.
That is a wild movie. Like,
did you watch it after I told you to go check it out?
I've seen it once. I mean, I don't love that movie or anything.
I'm not saying you love it, but
in terms of like how crazy it is, it's bonkers.
It's fucking wild.
Because you don't really expect much from the movie.
Yeah.
Really.
And it's still marketed off the front half. It's marketed off the first act. And the first act is relatively grounded. Like, there's still some 80s cheese to it, for sure. But it's relatively grounded. In terms of, like, oh, Bouncer goes and he's there, you know. Cooler goes and he's gonna train all the bouncers and he's gonna clean up this bar. And it's like, okay, he's a badass who can take on anybody. Like, okay. And it's generally pretty grounded. And then it turns into this, like, mob, extortion. We're gonna ride monster trucks through car dealerships, and we're gonna blow up businesses. And he's gonna rip out people's throats like he's fucking MacGruber. It's wild shit.
Some of the action set pieces are like really impressive.
Yeah.
Like where he's like drop kicking off of motorcycles and shit.
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun, wild fucking shit. And also, side note for Bill Murray fans, even though we proved last episode that you are not a Bill Murray fan, is Bill Murray recently did an interview on the New Heights podcast with Jason and Travis Kelce, and he brings up Roadhouse, like they brought up Roadhouse, and how there's an inside story where I can't remember the woman's name who plays the female lead in it. Bill Murray was friends with her husband, so anytime Roadhouse was on TV, when it got to the sex scene, he'd call his friend. He's like, "This is really hard. I don't know how to tell you about this, but Patrick Swayze's giving it to your wife. You should probably turn on the TV." And just him fucking with his friend. He's like, "Pat was a really great guy, but he was wrong to do that." Just like talking as if it was like reality and fucking with his friend, and it's a great moment. But
Billy Lynch,
but yeah,
Kelly
Lynch. Yeah, she's fun in the movie. She's classic 80s hot. Like, that is clearly a, hey, we need a hot blonde because it's an 80s movie. Let's get her kind of thing. It's such a weird, bonkers ass movie that you think's going one way and it just goes so 180 the other. And I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. I first watched Roadhouse, I want to say it was either late 23, maybe it was early 23, late 22, or 23, 24. I remember because the night I was watching it, I had to pause because someone crashed their vehicle on the street in front of our house in Philly. And then I had to go out and talk to them and kind of mediate a situation. And the whole block's like, what the fuck's going on? I was like, I don't fucking know. And then I'm going back in. So Patrick Swayze ripping a guy's throat out was not the wildest shit I saw that night. But it was just like, what the fuck is happening? And it was just beautiful snow-covered, snowy night. I was by myself. I was like, this is a great night. I fucking love this. So Chef's Kiss to Roadhouse.
That's Patrick Swayze's second appearance in this list in the 80s.
But
Red Dawn and
I had Red Dawn earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember where I put Red Dawn.
I know he'll be at least showing up one more time between the two of us.
I was gonna say I don't think I have another Swayze in there. Those are the only two
I
Swayze movies I've seen Dirty Dancing, so I've seen 3 Patrick Swayze movies.
Yep, he'll be appearing.
I at least can talk about it, but yeah, I love Roadhouse. Swayze's just got that raw charisma, man.
Yeah, he's great. Like, also he's
Because
great without.
as of recording, I just watched Red Dawn last night again. So
He's like macho without being too machismo.
that is a great way to say that. Yes.
Because like he's manly, but he's not like a douche about it.
Yeah, he's got a. We talked about
Especially considering he's not like a altogether like a physical specimen or like Arnold or anyone.
No.
Stallone.
He definitely was not. I mean, he looks damn good in Roadhouse, but he's still a leaner, sleeker, athleticism, muscular guy. He's not. You're right. He's not Arnold. He's not Stallone, where they're fucking pouring it in, getting as big as possible.
Yeah,
that's not who he is. He's got a thing about him. I'm not saying he's Humphrey Bogart, by the way, but the thing about Humphrey Bogart is always he's tough without a gun. There's always a thing about Bogey, right? He's got that thing about him where you're just like, yeah, he can play a tough guy, but there's not anything outwardly about him that says tough guy. But he just fits in this kind of mold like that where you're like, yeah, I buy it. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, gone too soon.
Gone too soon. And he kind of just didn't really do anything relevant in the last couple of years of his career. Just
yeah. No. Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows?
It's a shame.
But yeah, what a cocaine-addled fucking movie. I swear, whoever wrote that movie, if they weren't doing cocaine the entire time, I don't know how they made that movie then.
I'm sure they were.
There's a reason I said Disco Dusk and White Girl Interrupter in this fucking description, dude. It's wild.
I don't see how that any of that movie gets made without it.
Right.
So.
Alrighty, so our quick recap. Dylan with the producers at 60, and I have Rocky Horror Picture Show. 59, Dylan's is Some Like It Hot. I have The Sandlot. 58 is Big, and I go with Return of the Living Dead. 57, Casino Royale. Exorcist, Young Frankenstein, and Interview with the Vampire at 56. 55, Anchorman and Inglourious Bastards. Inglourious Bastards, Dylan's. Anchorman, mine. 54, Dylan went with 7, and I went with Bram Stoker's Dracula. 53, The Batman and E.T. That might be the best quality pairing we've had the entire time. In terms of the same, I'd have to go back and look, but something tells me that's the highest quality pairing we've had thus far. 52, Pretty Woman and Children of the Corn, obviously in the same argument as The Batman and E.T. And 51, we have The Mummy and Roadhouse. So, again, wildly different things. We have not had a lot of... We've had repeats, or we have repeats in our list that we know of, but we have not had a lot of in the same bracket of 10, in the same group of 10. So it's interesting to see how we like movies. But if you had to recommend one of the 10 that you said more than anything...
Ooh, well, the thing is, I think most people have watched The Mummy, so I'd say Some Like It Hot.
Okay.
I think most people have not seen that.
I think that's very fair. In terms of the best iteration of quality plus something people haven't seen, I'd probably say Interview with the Vampire. It's a movie I don't think enough people have watched. Because I think enough people know of Rocky Horror that I don't have to remind them to go watch Rocky Horror. Obviously, I don't think I need to recommend E.T. So, and if you're like me and you like 80s movies, if you haven't seen Roadhouse, go fucking watch Roadhouse because it's wild. So, those would be the ones I would say. But that has been our 60 through 51. We are halfway through. And it's going to be wild shit here pretty soon. you're going to see what we're really passionate about in the top 50. And once we hit top 25, all bets are off. There's going to be some wild shit in there for both of us. So it's going to be fun. But this has been fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you want to go see our other picks previous to number 60, go watch the previous episodes or check out the graphics that we had listed earlier. That has been the show today. Stay in touch wherever you can. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. We're happy to do it for you, and let us know what your rankings are in the comments section. We'd love to see that. But peace, love, and hugs to you all. Go watch a great movie. Goodbye!